Alrighty, welcome back, Alpha Hunters. The markets are closed for the week of September the 15th. So let's go through and talk about what went on this week. We had a very nice gap up on Monday. We gapped up. How much was this? This was around 0.6% of a gap up there on Monday to start off the week. We did pull back into the moving averages, the intraday moving averages, and kind of rode them back up to the morning or daily high there. Tuesday, a little bit of a gap down, traded over lower into the early part of the middle part of the day there, and then just kind of bounced around and kind of pushed higher, and then had a nice little pop, and then we kind of rolled over, and then ended off the session lows. But yeah, it was kind of a crazy day there on Tuesday. Wednesday morning, we actually got CPI data, and I'll talk about that when we get through the rest of this part of it. But got a little bit of a gap up, very subtle, kind of squirrely here to start. Pushed higher, kind of was flat. We didn't really do a whole lot for the day. And then kind of just rolled over there for the last 2 hours, last 45 minutes, though. Nice little bounce action off the lows. Thursday, we got PPI, and we gapped up pretty good. We had a pretty good gap up there. Nice little pullback, and then just rode it higher for most of the day. A little bit of a sell down towards the last hour, but nothing crazy. Friday was the day. We got a very nice gap down and just traded lower really in that first hour and a half. Kind of went sideways as we went into the middle part of the day, and then we broke down again, and just went kind of a sideways, a little bit of a downtrend last couple hours. So was kind of interesting. We're going to go through a lot of different things, because one of the things that I was kind of talking about, and I've been talking about, is yields and dollar keep pushing higher, and that was going on, especially on Wednesday and Thursday. And I was like, dude, the market's not like it's eventually going to break, because the yields and dollar just keep continuing to push higher. So it's all right. We'll look at all that, and we'll talk about it. Core inflation. Inflation basically came in for year over year. Is expected to come in at 4.3%. It came in at 4.3%, which was down from the prior month at 4.7%. So core inflation is starting to come down, but the inflation rate year over year was at 3.7%. The forecast was calling for 3.6%. Prior month was at 3.2%. And this was a big reason why I was really shocked that we didn't see more selling on Wednesday, because inflation is starting to tick back up. This is 2 months in a row now. Inflation's ticked higher, and this actually came in higher than the forecast. Now, a lot of that was due to energy commodity prices were higher than the previous month, and they've continued to kind of tick up here in the beginning part of September. So we'll see what September number is when we get to October inflation numbers. Thursday morning, we got PPI. We also got retail sales. Both these numbers actually did beat the forecast. PPI came in at 0.7%, which that's just higher and more inflation, right? This is more inflation than what they were forecasted. Retail sales came in at 0.6% compared to that forecast of 0.2%. So yeah, strong consumer, but is it too strong? And we're seeing inflation continue to come back, and that means yields and rates are going to go higher. I think it does. That's kind of the problem, and that's not good for stocks. That's not good for equities. All right, take a look here at sector rotation for the week. Yeah, we can see, discretionaries were doing pretty good. They were leading the market for a good part of the week up until Friday. Obviously, we saw big tech have a pretty good sell-off there on Friday. So discretionary is actually second best performing sector on the week. Utilities did pretty good throughout the week, kind of just steadily just minded their own business, kind of grinded higher Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So yeah, utilities over the past about week and a half have looked really, really good. Financials outperforming, communications, XLC outperforming, staples, real estate kind of outperforming there. In line with the market for the week, healthcare, energies, and materials. Underperformers, industrials, and tech. Look at that tech move. Ooh, really dropping off there on Friday. Federal Reserve balance sheet data came in a little bit higher. Now it's kind of curious, because you know what? That's 3 weeks in a row that the Federal Reserve balance sheet has increased. So I don't know, is Jerome Powell just lying to us and they're not trying to shrink the balance sheet, or does this data not even matter? I don't know. Depends on what they mean by they're shrinking the balance sheet, because it doesn't seem like they're really trying to do it. The VIX, we saw the VIX kind of drop off pretty good there Monday. Tuesday, a little bit of an uptick. Wednesday, as we got CPI, a little bit of a higher open, but just dropped off pretty good, especially there into Thursday, dropped off. Made a new several month low, actually a new low on the year here on the VIX. And then Friday morning, as we got this, the selling came in from that gap down, we just got a huge, nice little move higher here on the VIX. Now, what's kind of interesting is between, the new low that we kind of put in here between the beginning of September to the low that we just put in this week here on the VIX, and we take a look at the SPY and that high that we put in there in September, and well, this high, we didn't take out that high from beginning of September. We just made a new lower high, but the VIX made a new lower low. So the market maybe turning here. The VIX was getting kind of complacent there. So we'll see kind of what continues to drive early next week. The DXY, yep, got a nice little pullback to start the week, pulled into the 10 EMA, and then, yep, we just kind of pushed higher there Wednesday, and then a nice little pop there Thursday. Nice lower wick there with a huge push there on Thursday. Friday's, lower wick there, looking pretty good. Probably continues higher into next week, so dollar probably just gonna keep grinding higher. GLD, really I can kind of take this and apply it to silver, the SLV as well. GLD here for the past couple of months, while the dollar has continued to just push higher, gold is not really breaking down. Okay, we had a nice little bounce here towards the end of August, had a very nice bounce there. And so, we're not really seeing the precious metals kind of drop off. I think precious metals are starting to look really, really good, kind of be dipping your toes into. And I think that has a lot to say with, I think people are starting to get protective in going into precious metals because we're not seeing precious metals drop off as we are seeing the dollar rally here. So I kind of like maybe some precious metals, GLD, SLV looking pretty good. Looking here at that 10-year yield, and yeah, we are getting back up to those highs right there at that October high. But now, we've been bouncing up here for a while, and I have a hard time believing we don't just continue to push higher next week. And what's the market going to do? So that's where we've heard a lot of people, there's been a lot of people kind of say, higher yields is not going to be a big deal. Don't worry about it. Okay, well, once it actually happens and people start to freak out and sell their equities to go lock up bonds and bond yields, then you'll talk about, okay, it's a big deal. We'll see that. So yeah, yields continue to look really good and very nice push Thursday, Friday, and that's coming on the back of CPI and PPI data that we got this week. All right, options, week over week change, and really one of the things I can tell you, lots of puts being bought. September 22nd and 29th, a lot of puts. October 6th, quite a bit of puts. October 13th, quite a bit of puts. Calls and puts for October 20th, a lot of options getting bought there. October 27th, a lot of puts getting bought. November 17th, a lot of puts. December 15th, a lot of puts. The only time where we actually saw more calls getting bought than puts was out here in January for the week. So a lot of puts being bought right now. I'd be kind of cautious. People kind of seeing some things that are not exactly leaning to be bullish. All right, let's take a look at the RSP and run through these indices. And yeah, we had a nice little kind of sell down actually to kind of start the week here on the RSP. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And this is when the Qs and the SPY actually kind of had a little bit of an uptrend going. Very nice gap up, though, gap and go there on Thursday. Pushed higher all the way to the weekly high. And then Friday, nice little gap down and push back down. Didn't get back down to the weekly low, but nice little sideways consolidation here over the past week and a half. Kind of says it's just going to keep kind of muttering back down. The DIA as well, kind of just, really fell off here on Friday, kind of getting down to those weekly lows, making a new weekly low there on Friday. So this also doesn't look all that great, but it doesn't look as bad as the RSP and the IWM. Speaking of the IWM, here we go. Week and a half sideways, moving averages coming down, pushing down. You kind of thought Thursday maybe that was a nice little gap up and was going to trade higher. but it just couldn't really sustain it. Friday we just come back out, gap down, and just trade back down. So yeah, not really looking good here on the IWM. Now I'm not going to say that going forward the IWM is going to really get crushed. I actually think the IWM might start outperforming the Qs going forward. I'm not saying that it's a good time to be bearish. I just don't think they're going to sell down as hard as the Qs will. Kind of like how today the Qs were down 1.7%, IWM was down 1.05%. Speaking of the Qs, well, nice gap up there on start the week on Monday. A little bit of a pullback into Friday's close of last week into the moving averages. Nice pop there on Thursday, up at those weekly highs, and then Friday gap down, ran down to the weekly low. Kind of got close to last week's low, but didn't get quite there. So yeah, we'll see what happens next week. I'd imagine we probably do roll over here, break that low early next week, and yep, that's just kind of what I'm thinking. SPY, yeah, this one nice sell down there on Friday, but yeah, gap up, traded down, popped pretty good there on Thursday. Nice gap up. You can see nice island reversal, very clean up there. Not the cleanest island reversal ever, where it's completely abandoned, but yeah, nice sell down, came all the way back down. And I'm checking real quick. What was the low of last week? 442.75. Low of today was 442.92. So it got 17 cents away from making a new low. So, or a low compared to last week. So yeah, really close there to breaking last week's low. I actually think it will do it probably on Monday. Makes sense to me. Monday, Tuesday. This is kind of what I'm thinking. Sell down a little bit Monday, Tuesday. Nothing crazy like Friday, but maybe like 0.5%, maybe 0.75% or something like that. Wednesday, we are going to get Fed interest rate decision and press conference. On Wednesday, I could see us bounce up, snag, and come and retest this low from September 7th, and then we just drop off Thursday and Friday. That's what I'm going to be expecting this next week, and I would be very interested to hear what Jerome Powell kind of has to say as far as inflation, interest rates, their path, because we've kind of seen a lot of the forward expectation of interest rate hikes is kind of diminishing. We're seeing a lot more of probabilities of the Fed's just going to hold until we get to about May of next year, maybe March or May of next year, and then we'll start to see some cuts. So that'll be my game plan. I'm really going to be interested to hear what the Fed has to say on Wednesday, but I think we'll probably just continue sell down because this is a pretty good momentum day on Friday. Nice volume as well, and I think we'll probably just come down, sell Monday, Tuesday, just because we ended pretty weak and pretty strong week on the week, or pretty strong bearish on the week, and then probably just continues a little bit into early next week. So that's just what I'm thinking. Enjoy the football. Have a great weekend. Take care, Alf Hunters.